Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled Parents. In today's episode, you can't just throw out a stranded pregnant mother and her toddler at 3 a.m. in the cold. Oh yes, I fucking can. Entitled Dad claims I'm doing drugs on the bus. I was just trying to take care of my mom, now I'm living out of a hotel. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. You can't just throw out a stranded pregnant mother and her toddler at 3 a.m. in the cold. Oh yes, I fucking can. Buckle up everyone for this bumpy ride. Okay, so I was chilling in my living room around 3 a.m. playing some video games. My parents are out of town visiting some friends and I decided to stay home, house to myself and all. So here I am, in nothing but bra and panties, when there's a knock on the door. WTF? I think to myself, so I scramble to get my clothes on and I answer the door. It was a family acquaintance with her already whiny little brat. She's also visibly pregnant, and we'll get to why that part is important later. Me, hey name, what's going on? Her, my car broke down and tow company can't come get my car until tomorrow. Think me and brat's name can crash here tonight? Me, sure you guys can sleep in the living room, I let them in. Me, want anything to eat or drink? Her, coffee if it's not any trouble? Me, sure no problem. So I go to make some coffee when I see little shit picking up my controller. Me, hey little guy, please put that down. Her, oh, can't he play a game? Me, no, I'm in the middle of something, plus he wouldn't know how to play the type of game. Her, but he really wants to, don't you little shit? Little shit, I want to play. Me, no, you can't play. Little shit, I want to play, I want to play, I want to play. HHH throws the controller at the TV, shattering the screen. Me, WTF? I rush over to the TV. Her, hey. Don't you swear at my child. Me, you just let him destroy my TV like this. Her, you're the one who didn't let him play the video game. Me, I said no and you have to teach your brat that he isn't Jack shit. Her, how dare you? Just wait until I tell your mother about how you treated him, you'll make a terrible mom. Me, I'm not having kids, but if I did I wouldn't let them be spoiled little shits like brat. Her, you are being the brat right now. Just get a new TV and quit whining. Me, yeah, I'll get a new TV with the money you pay me for the broken TV. Her, what? But you are the one who instigated little shit. Me, you know what, just get out of my house, you and your brat are no longer welcome in my house. Her, what is wrong with you? I'm pregnant and have a toddler and have nowhere to go, you can't just kick out a stranded pregnant mother and her toddler at 3 a.m. in the cold. Me, oh yes, I can, you insufferable. Get out of my house before I call the cops. Her, picking her brat up and heading towards the door, just wait until I tell your mother about this. Me, yeah, I'll gladly tell her about what little shit did to the TV and that you refuse to pay for it. Her, you'll regret this. Leaves. The next morning I called my parents and explained what happened. They were very understanding because I was never raised to be a spoiled little cumstain, and momby cunt got an earful from my mom that if she didn't pay back we would take her to small claims. She tried to play the woe is me single pregnant mother blah 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 shit, but it didn't work and she forked over the $500 for the new TV and we cut contact with her. Edit, in case anyone else was wondering, the reason Breeder and her shitstain were out at 3 a.m. was because little shit demanded McDonald's and refused to go to bed unless he got it. At 3 a.m. was because little shit demanded McDonald's and refused to go to bed unless he got it. This is so disgusting. The mom doesn't even have her child under control. Honestly, had that been me, I would have gotten slapped and sent into my room and cried myself to sleep for all she cared. I'm fine, tough love. I can already imagine the little brat whining because he hadn't gotten McDonald's. LMAO, if someone knocked at night, I wouldn't open it. Epic gamer girl in underwear destroys entitled woman with child, epically. Reddit eats it right up. Really? McDonald's? I'm trying to comprehend how by her logic was this going to solve her problem. Okay, so I'm not trying to be rude or an asshole, but I seriously feel like this sub, along with many others, like CB, has turned into an easy place for people to come, make up an absurd story and collect karma. I don't know if this story is true or not, but I'm seeing a pattern with all these how dare you s and you'll regret this s, and it just sounds like a shitty Nickelodeon script for a villain to recite. I'm disappointed because it used to be so good. Entitled dad claims I'm doing drugs on the bus. Me. BD bus driver. Ed entitled dad. KL kind lady. So a little bit of background on me: I have a bunch of health issues, and that means I have a lot of medications. The important one here is my anti-sickness meds ondansetron, Zofran. Now, due to issues here in the UK, getting hold of some of my medications has been a nightmare. My anti-sickness has been the hardest to get, so what little I do have I am heavily rationing until I can finally get it again. The other important thing to note is that for a while now it has been coming in a pill bottle and not a blister. Here in the UK, that's very unusual. Another thing that's important to mention is that it's pretty clear I'm disabled. I have a walking stick and I wear a sunflower lanyard. Also, my face is dropped on the left due to a stroke I had. Basically, if you look at me, you know full well I'm disabled. The last thing is 3rd of June is my birthday, tbh. The day kinda sucked, and birthdays are fairly important in my family, especially mine, as I've spent so many in hospital. So I was on the bus today and I'm already in a pretty foul mood. I had gone to the pharmacy in hopes of getting my meds, no luck. I'm feeling very sick, I'm in a lot of pain, I'm tired, and to top it all off, it's my birthday and I can't eat my birthday cake without feeling even worse. So needless to say, I was close to tears. I was sat on the bus in the disabled seats, head against the window, music in my ears, trying not to cry. One of my earphones ran out of charge, so I went into my bag to grab the case and switch to wired earphones. Just as I was doing this dad got on the bus with a small child. I paid them no mind as I dug through my bag until I heard him clear his throat. "My child needs to sit there," he said, looking at me. Now the bus was not busy at this point, and the seat next to me as well as the other disabled seats. I looked at him in confusion and I said, "I'm sorry sir, but as you can see I'm already sat here and it's very clear I need them. He is welcome to sit next to me, or you can pick any of the other seats." Now I could have absolutely been nicer about it, but as I said, I was in no mood. He just huffed at me and sat on the other seats. All seemed well until the child started complaining he wanted to sit on the left side where I was. The dad ignored the kid whilst the kid kept moaning. Now at this point my sickness had gotten a lot worse. So I reluctantly grabbed my anti-sickness meds from my bag to take one. It has one of those child safety caps on, the ones where you push down and turn at the same time. I really don't like these caps, but whatever, get on with it. I was struggling to get it pushed down. But before I could complete this, my meds were grabbed out my hand. The man went marching to the driver. He started shouting I was taking drugs on the bus and I should be arrested. The driver pulled over and got out his cab. At this point everything got far too much and I burst into tears. The driver, an older man who knows me, said M isn't taking drugs, they are taking their medications. At this point a lady had sat down next to me and wrapped her arm around me. I was just crying and crying and crying. Everything had gotten too much. Friends didn't wish me a happy birthday. I wasn't feeling well. I just want my anti-sickness meds. I want a day where I'm not unwell, especially on my birthday. As if to pile on top of it, KL, who was hugging me, smelt of the soap my grandma used, so on top of it I started missing her and wishing it was her hugging me on my birthday. The Ed realized how wrong he was and how much he messed up, but still tried to worm his way out. I don't really know what he said, I just know that he was trying to make an excuse. BD grabbed my meds off him, told him to get off, and grabbed my water out my bag and helped get the cap off. I took my meds, but was still very upset, as you can imagine. Fortunately, BD knows my auntie, so he called her and got her to come and pick me up to take me home. Update: Hi everyone, thank you for the awards and kind messages. Thought I would give a little update. So I managed to get about half my due meds, so it means I've been able to enjoy some of my birthday cake. It's a lovely plain sponge with fresh cream and royal icing. It's lovely, nothing fancy, but my mom made it, so it's incredibly special. Complaints have been put through about the ED. This includes CCTV of him grabbing my meds. As I am classed as a vulnerable adult, it's now a police matter. Not really what I wanted, as I feel it is a bit harsh. But I'll wait and see the outcome. I was at work yesterday, and the kind lady who comforted me on the bus ended up coming into the bookshop where I work. It turns out I actually know her from the hospital. We've been on the same ward a few times. She also knows my mom, which is really nice. I was only working a half day, so we went for lunch together. We had a really lovely time, and I'm going to stay in contact with her. She's taken to calling me Bluey because I love the show and my hair is blue. It's really lovely. I've missed my grandmother so much. Whilst she will never replace my grandmother, I feel like I've gained a bit of her back. My parents are away right now, and she brought me around shepherd's pie for dinner. Disgusting behavior and blatant ignorance on his part. I'm sorry it happened to you, Han. I wish it surprised me more, but as a British wheelchair user in my 30s, I'd quit traveling by bus for any journeys less than half an hour even before the pandemic, fed up of drivers refusing to stop for me, or refusing to let me on, or declining even to ask pushchair owners to fold them to let me into the space I'm supposed to have priority for, let alone telling them to. And of randomers verbally abusing me while on the bus and being ignored or encouraged by the drivers. This is the natural end result of the ableist propaganda being fed to our mainstream media outlets by the awful right-wing government we've had to suffer. This, the 250% plus rise in disability hate crimes, and the 10,000 extra deaths among chronically ill and or disabled people that had happened even before 2020. I'd be raging were I not so exhausted by it all. You have my sympathy. That man ought to be banned from the company's buses. They'd usually do that for similar behavior in younger people. Did they hear? I hope so. I'm so sorry this happened. I am also suffering from multiple chronic disabilities and illnesses. The one day you want to not feel that way is your birthday. I know it's not the same as your friends. But happy birthday. I hope you can get to your cake while those meds are in your system and you can enjoy even a few bites of it. I'm so sorry this happened, Opie. What an awful experience that no one deserves to endure. I feel so sorry for that little boy as well. I hope he grows up knowing his dad is exactly how not to act. Happy birthday, Opie. Wishing I wasn't across the pond. I'd love nothing more than to celebrate your birthday with you. You are important. You do matter. Most people are unfortunately self-absorbed pompous asses who can't see past themselves. I hate they can't see how it affects the people around them. I hope you get your meds soon. Even here in the US, I haven't been able to get a lot of my medicine as well, so I completely understand. On the next good day you have, please do your favorite things and be kind to yourself. You deserve love, kindness, and happiness too. Hugs and happy birthday wishes from my family to you. I was just trying to take care of my mom. Now I'm living out of a hotel. So this is long and ongoing. I'm a 35-year-old man. A year ago my father passed away, so my wife and I upped sticks and moved in with my mother so I could look after her. We had our issues with her lying to her doctors about her health issues. She would complain all week about things, and during the appointment she would lie and say she was fine. When I started telling her doctors the truth, she would lash out and say some pretty messed up stuff. She would lie to her physical therapists about her workouts. Gush about how much I did for her in public, then claimed I wasn't doing anything for her in private. Eventually everything came to a head when she demanded that I stay with her every waking minute because she was a fall risk. This caused my wife to haul off and tear her a new one. Rather than sitting down and taking things out, my M decided to take off. I made it clear we would still look after her should she change her mind, and she said that the house is yours, make it yours. So my wife and I started to lay down roots there. Soon after we got a call from M saying she decided to sell the house. We offered to buy it and were told that she didn't want to sell to us because of our fight. Served us with eviction and took us to court. The whole family thinks she's lost it and we are currently living in a hotel. Her downward spiral started when my sister was on a call saying she felt alone as she had moved out of state shortly before my father became ill as a result of the pandemic. She was unable to come to the funeral. My mother's response was to chastise my sister since she has it worst. My sister was understandably upset about this. But I had made up my mind to look after her. We came up with an agreement. I would take over payment of the house and all the bills so she could save her money for her treatments. I was livening off of 2 hours of sleep a night as she would get up in the middle of the night with and try to walk around without her walker. When she would inevitably fall, I had to get up to pick her up. As a result, eventually hurting myself. When I would point out that she needs to use her walker, she would make excuses and even lie about what her doctors and therapists said. One day I caught her trying to pick up stuff from her dresser without her walker after her physical therapist told her how to use her walker safely to move things. I know because I was in the room when he showed her. Still, she looked me dead in the eye and denied it. After her next appointment with the point, I asked him to show us again. Sure enough, I was right. As soon as he left, she picked a fight saying that I hated my father. Every time I would have to replace something in the house, she would start a fight saying that I never do anything around the house and how I must have hated my dad because I replaced everything that he put in. For example, one day the water heater gave out. I came out to the garage flooded. I contacted a plumbing company and they looked over the water heater and showed me where it had rusted holes in the back and bottom. It had to be replaced. So we set out to replace it. She went on a tear and started blaming us for the damage to a 20-plus-year-old water heater in South Texas. It took 2 days to install the new system, all the while she refused to leave her room and would demand I stop whatever it was I was doing so she could tell me her thoughts on a show she was watching or how much she disliked some particular actor or actress. So here I am juggling helping put in a new system and fixing 30 years of jury rigging to bring it to code, and I'm having to stop every 10 minutes to talk with her about nonsense. After finally getting the damn thing installed and after her stopping me several times to complain about how long it was taking, she called me into her room again to chastise me about how the house was a mess and how I refused to take care of her and how awful I've been. I told her I'd been working on the house, which she just dismissed with a whatever. Now I started to clean the kitchen. Managed to get it spotless, and even after making her supper. I delivered her food to her and she once again went on a tear saying that I wasn't doing anything. The house was a mess and I was not taking care of her right. I rolled my eyes at this point and said fine and turned to leave so I could clean the rest of the house. She stopped me and demanded I stay with her for every waking moment because that's what her doctor said I had to do. It was not, and I know it was not, because I sit in with her for her appointments. I tried to explain that I can't clean the house if I'm stuck in her room, but she won't listen. She just keeps bounding between the house is a mess and I have to stay with her. This is what sparked our argument. My wife heard this and just went off. Well, here we are now living out of a hotel for the next 2 weeks, and yesterday I get a call from APS. Turns out she filed a case against us claiming a bunch of stuff that's just made up. In fact, the person I spoke with outright said as much. I mean, I uprooted my life to try to be a good son and this happens. Edit. So to be clear, my wife and myself are currently no contact, and last I heard she was still living in an assisted living facility. Now my eldest sister has also gone no contact with her along with the rest of the family, which condemn her actions. My second older sister and her husband are currently in contact with her and are having their own issues with her. This stems from a deal they made with her in order to make use of the car that my father had bought shortly before he passed. The deal was that my brother-in-law would use the vehicle but would be responsible for its maintenance and drive her to her doctor's appointments. The problem is that rather than communicating ahead of time, she regularly schedules her appointments for as early as possible and waits till the last moment to tell him, often the same day. This would not be a problem if he lived in the city, but he lives in a small town 45 minutes outside the city limits. To deal with this, he simply offered to buy the car. But she refuses to sell for anything less than what my father paid for it brand new. While they have tried to maintain friendly relations with her, and at my request stay out of this, my mother is now demanding they validate her behavior and tell her they agree with her actions, otherwise they are against her. Looking back on some of her behaviors in the past, I see now this is nothing new but a long string of behaviors that was only hidden because my father would keep her in check. I'm at a loss for where to go from here. I uprooted my family, I broke my body, I pushed myself beyond the point of exhaustion because I wanted to be a good son. In the end, I had a failure of a mother. Yeah, she has lost it. I would have just let her rot in that house tbh if she was acting that way to me. My father called me the night they put him on a ventilator. I could hear him fighting with his doctors. His last words to me were, "Look after your mother." Difficult situation, especially with two fighting parties. Her selling the house and refusing to sell it to you does sound like petty revenge, though. I suspect she owns the house? This is the epitome of setting yourself in fire to keep someone else warm. You tried. Stop taking care of her and take care of yourself. Yeah, I have cut ties, but my wife says I should have done that a while ago. I think because I was always the throwaway kid, I was desperate to show I was a good son. My father has mid-stage dementia. This is how he was at the start. Confused, angry, confrontational, misunderstanding the doctor's instructions, you know, all the good stuff. He's in care now. Since you mentioned court, I'm guessing you lost the motion of establishing that the house was gifted to you. Have you been out of the house for more than 60, 90 days, you may be able to put a builder's lien on the property as a contractor who was doing work and reclaim any investments into the property. You may also be able to bill yourself as an unpaid PSW for that time period. Check your respective country's legal advice subreddit for options. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.